When I first heard about Sodden Sanctuary, the idea of a 2D Souls game on the Vita thrilled me, but I was also apprehensive. I love the Souls games and having a portable version, even if 2D, was a dream come true. But I wanted it to be made by From Software, not an indie studio that I'd never heard of. I didn't need to worry though. Sodden Sanctuary was better than I expected. I found it took the style, gameplay and atmosphere of the Souls game and Bloodborne and transferred it perfectly to 2D. When you start the game, you choose one of 8 classes of character to start the game as. For example, you can choose to be an agile thief with a knife, a heavy knight with a strong sword and shield, or a mage that can wield magic. The different classes allow you to play as you prefer, whether you like playing as a defensive character good at dodging, or one that attacks from range. As you progress in the game, you can level your character up and acquire new weapons and equipment, so you can alter your playstyle over time. You can really feel the difference in movement between equipping a heavy armor and a light one. For Dark Souls, I tended to play very cautiously, but with Sodden Sanctuary the gameplay felt more fluid and the character easier to control, so I was happy to rush into battles. Don't get me wrong, I died a lot, but I think having been playing 2D games since I was a little kid, the game felt very natural to control, which made me less cautious. As you progress in the game, you unlock new abilities like wall jumping, long jump and mid-air jump. They made the game faster and more fluid, which for me made the game more fun to play. When I started on New Game Plus, I really missed the speed of the gameplay from my previous playthrough. I did find Sodden Sanctuary a lot easier than any of the Souls games. I got through some of the stages and 5 of the bosses on my first try. For context, I used a light armor with heavy sword, and when I leveled up my character I put most of my points into making my character stronger. As a result, some of the bosses went down very quickly and easily. The PS4 version of the game can be played co-op, whereas the Vita version cannot. I wondered whether the game was made purposefully easier to compensate for the fact that you can't call for help when you're struggling with a tough boss. I would have preferred to have been more challenged on the boss fights. One of the things I love about the Souls games is that sense of accomplishment for taking down a tough boss that's towering over you, although it may be preferable to people unfamiliar with the Souls games for Sodden Sanctuary to be less punishing. The story of the game starts off with you on a boat transporting a princess to her marriage. The boat is attacked and destroyed and you wash up on the shore of a mysterious island. You head off to find the princess and rescue her from the horde of monsters that lie before you. The story became lost on me over time. The lore of the game was buried in item descriptions and vague conversations with NPCs. I have to admit I didn't pay much attention to the lore. Like the Souls games, I tended to play the game my first go and then consider the story and lore on my next playthrough. It was only when I was near the end of the game that I remembered that I was supposed to be rescuing a princess. The bosses are a highlight of the Souls games and they did not disappoint for Sodden Sanctuary. There was a lot of variety and although I found them easier than when I played any of the Souls games, they were a lot of fun to play. I enjoyed the trickier ones the most that forced me to play differently or figure out the strategy required to beat them. The game has a marker of a large candelabra so you know when you're about to encounter a boss. Seeing that candelabra always made me pause each time to psych myself up for what was ahead. As you fight and kill enemies you acquire salt and gold. Gold can be used to buy new equipment but salt is the main currency of the game. You use it to level up your character and also your equipment. If you die you can return to the spot of your death and reacquire your dropped salt, but if you die before you get it back then it's lost forever. Like the Souls games, the more enemies you kill the more cautiously you play to avoid losing all the salt you've accumulated. The leveling tree is massive and offers lots of choice for how you want to develop your character and what weapons you want to focus on. It was a much more engaging way to level up than Dark Souls, as you can plan out your path along the tree which provides a goal for how to upgrade your character. The graphics look good on the Vita. They are pretty much the same as the PS4 version, although the graphics have been made brighter and the screen zoomed in. The zoomed in perspective makes sense on the smaller Vita screen, but it also became a bit of a problem for me. You can use the right analog stick to move the camera and explore more of the screen, but there were points where the next platform was hidden from view due to the zoomed in perspective. The first time it happened to me I was backtracking and exploring for an hour to figure out where I had to go, and in the end I had to watch a random YouTube Let's Play to see where to go. This happened 3 times in the game. The level design is amazing. There were so many times when I was exploring an area and found a secret passage to a previous area that left me amazed at how well the stages were planned out, so they flow between each other. You are given new abilities at several points of the game and they allow you to access previously inaccessible areas or open up shortcuts between areas. I need to talk about the PS4 version of Sodden Sanctuary. I mentioned already the zoomed in camera and brighter graphics of the Vita version, but I also need to point out the game just plays better on the PS4. The frame rate is noticeably better and the game runs smoother. That's not to say the Vita port is bad, but this is not the best version of the game. If the PS4 version is a 9.5 out of 10, then this is a 9 out of 10. Personally, I prefer being able to play my games on the go as that's where I do most of my gaming, but if you want the best version of the game, then the PS4 is the one to play. Having said that, the game is cross-buy, so when you buy it you'll have both versions. I really recommend Sodden Sanctuary. Souls fans will enjoy the familiar style of the game, but the challenge is more balanced so that even non-Souls fans can pick up the game and enjoy it. It's become one of my favourite Vita games ever and was definitely worth the wait for how long it took to be ported over. So, have you played Sodden Sanctuary? What do you think about it? Leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching.